Next one is from Colin Johnson. Colin's going to be talking about some experiences on backup monitoring, which he has done for a very large customer.
Good afternoon. Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Colin Johnson. I used to work for a service provider, but now work for HP Enterprises on the BT backup account. Basically, we wanted to implement a distributed monitoring system for net backup for BT. Primarily, the management wanted it so they could see what was going on. It was basically a big black hole. They didn't know what was working. Yeah, sorry. Basically, it was a big black hole and they didn't know what was going on. I've talked about why was this done, how it was done, what was the outcome, the challenges encountered, the future ideas, and can we monitor more in the same fashion? Yeah. Okay, sorry. Why are we monitoring the backup status on a distributed area estate? Basically, BT did not monitor the backup servers apart from scripts, and they wanted to see how to get a better solution. This is done on a large multi-area, multi-country estate between Dublin, Derby and Amsterdam. We're getting a success rate now for KPI success of 98% and a restore rate of 100%, but we obviously have to monitor that to prove it. We also have to use the monitoring for license monitoring, for the client usage and capacity planning. We're also monitoring for collecting master and media system stats. In the past, we monitored via scripts and checking the summary stats, and that was very resource intensive for 80 machines. It's now done via distributed monitoring, and all of the jobs and the drill downs go to specific backup jobs. The task was to see if a system that was designed for 5 machines could actually work for 80 master machines and could be done proactively. The main task at the beginning was how to get all of the collectors on all of the master and media servers and the data sent to the database protection server and its database. We had to deploy collector code to 300 machines, both Unix and Windows. Initially, we deployed everything manually, and then we started to deploy via Radia for Unix on the green side networks and manually for the remote sites. Windows was deployed manually because there wasn't Radia support for the package. It took 6 to 9 months to deploy, primarily because of firewall issues with lots of minor sites. One site, for example, Edinburgh, took 3 months to deploy because we had to do multiple network address translation. There were no major issues deploying a proactive Wisdom deployment for the client side, but the server side had scalability issues where we had to have a separate database server, a separate reporting server, and a separate collecting server, as scaling wasn't working for one machine. What does it give BT now that it didn't have in the past? Now we can see if backups work within 10 minutes of whether they complete or not. We get daily customer reports for remote customers by email, by web, or by file. The main advantage is we've got a database now of all of the backup information which we can query, and we've got data going back for the past 2 years depending on what type of data held in the database. We can give job information on a per server basis, and we can also drill down to a specific client. We produce web pages for client queries and server daily statistics, and the customer reports can even be by the intranet, the web, email or file. The challenge is doing a large area distribution, especially on BT's network, is we've got a large amount of different servers and we're not Unix administrators. We have different collectors on different versions of operating systems against a different Wisdom DBA server sometimes, causes incoming stats problems. Basically, the Wisdom server doesn't understand what's being sent to it. The backup team, although we've got Unix and Windows experience, are showing up system problems before other tools alert to the issue. And that's a big problem because the collectors normally show up there's a Unix problem before anything else. BT, as people know, is deploying 21CN, but there's a split of who's responsible for all of the machines, and the backup servers are part of all of this split, and that causes problems. Sending the collector software distribution of 500 megabytes to remote machines is a problem on sites that have low incoming bandwidth. There is no capacity planning of the Wisdom database size itself in terms of the software, so we have to think about how to manage that for the future. The biggest change deploying Wisdom for BT was the culture change. Inside BT, we have a case managed by reactive traps. Now we're doing proactive, means that errors come in different fashions, and people don't tend to understand that until they use it. We also had to upgrade a lot of laptops because the tools we're now using to be proactive require better PCs to work with. In the future, we're now using it for capacity planning of BT's network, and that's showing up big problems in the network. But we never had this tool in the past to prove that this was actually the case. We're also going to do redundant monitoring. So we have 2 sites doing backup monitoring so that we're not just relying on one site. We're also going to trap errors via the application itself as opposed to BT's trap solution, which will generate a lot more redundancy into the trapping solution. We're also looking to virtualize it for other HP Enterprise customers so we can do the same thing for the monitoring. Also, in addition, we're looking to do storage capacity monitoring using different servers, the same software technology. but using the same reporting templates that we've worked on the back end of the Wisdom system. Basically, any questions?
Any questions for Colin? Okay, thank you, Colin.
Okay.
Okay, before we do the next presentation, I'm aware there's quite a lot of people want to